Loves it. This is Arts Alive. I'm Linda Philippi. My guest is Courtney Terry, and she works at the McMinnville Public Library and is here to tell us about some of the upcoming events. So welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, let's just dive in. We've got January, February, and what's going on?
So we've got this amazing program that's coming up. It's a program that was put on by the Oregon Humanities, which is a huge statewide organization that funds cultural activities. It's called the Conversation Project, and what it is they have facilitators that sign up to cover a variety of topics. You choose the topic based on what interests your community, and then the facilitators come from wherever around the state they're living, and they lead these discussions with community members. It lasts about an hour or two. And we are very, very lucky. Our Friends of the Library organization helped fund this project, and so we will have 4 different Conversation Project programs that are happening.
Okay, now's the time to get out the cheat sheet.
I got it.
And we're going to talk about who they are.
Yes.
Okay.
So our first one, and all of them will be happening on Sundays at 2 o'clock in the Library Carnegie Room. On January 11th, we'll have our first program, which is with Wendy Willis, who is a food activist out of Portland, and she's going to be talking about, we are what we eat. And the topic of her discussion is basically how we combine food and community and knowing about where our food comes from, which we felt was perfect for this area because I think McMinnville and the Yamhill Valley are so involved in local food, and we have such great local farms, and so we're hoping a lot of people will come.
I think you'll get,
that's what we're hoping
And it's a perfect time of year because the farmers aren't busy. It's January.
They can all come. Farmers of Yamhill County, please come to this discussion. And then on January 25th, we have 2 speakers, Jonathan Blasher and Tara Doherty, who are actually from a nonprofit advocacy group in Portland that focuses on the power of play. And so they'll be talking about how a lot of times in schools or with children, they're going away from the more active learning, and they're going to be talking about how that type of activity actually helps creativity and it helps learning by being fun and active and
not to mention it lets them burn off their steam.
Yes, absolutely.
So that when you do try to get them back in the chair, they can actually sit still without wiggling.
Which is, any of our storytime librarians could tell you the same thing about children and activities.
Sure, okay, great.
And then, so on February 8th, just in time for Black History Month, we're having Walida Amarisha, and her topic is called "Why Aren't There More Black People in Oregon? A Hidden History."
Okay.
And this is one of those topics that we felt was something that maybe people in this area don't really think about that much, but especially considering what's been going on in the news so often.
Sure.
And just the idea that there is this part of Oregon history that's hidden, and a lot of people in our community may not know that. And so this is definitely something new, something that might be a little controversial, but that's why we want to have it.
Absolutely,
The whole point of this program is to be able to talk about difficult issues as a community. So we're very excited for that one. And then finally, on February 22nd, we're having Jennifer Allen, who is actually the director of the Oregon Humanities, is going to come. I know, that's fancy. And her topic is Going Solo, which is how to seek out solitude in a social world, which I also think is so relevant right now. I know I have a hard time turning off my smartphone most of the time. And so this is just about learning how, when we live in such a social environment, how to shut off and how to reflect, and whether or not we need to shut off or whether or not we need to have that solitude. So that'll be a really interesting conversation.
That will be an interesting conversation.
Maybe people can turn their phones off for it.
Just like, okay, everybody turn your phone off, put it face down.
Let's talk about solitude. Yes, exactly.
Oh, okay, that's going to be great.
Yep.
So is that primarily what you do at the library, is events, or what's your role?
No, we always joke about how librarians wear many, many hats,
Sure.
especially at a smaller library like ours. So I am a reference librarian, so when you come upstairs and ask for help at the information desk at the top of the stairs, I'll be sitting there waiting to help you. I do adult programming. I handle some of the library PR. I'm also I do the Spanish outreach for the library, so I purchase for the Spanish language collection and do a little bit of Spanish programming as
Oh, I
well.
love it. That's great.
Yes, and on Tuesday mornings I work in the children's room.
And how do you like that?
I love it. It's actually Tuesdays are my Mondays, so that's usually how I start out my week, with 2 hours in the children's room. And
Is that like the story time for the toddlers, or?
yeah, actually, yes, there's a story time that happens right before I start work, and so sometimes there's a sea of children. And it's all the little
Yeah.
kids too, because the older kids are in school.
Right.
And it's just so much fun. I mean, I know it's awful, but I love it when a kid cries when he has to leave the library.
Oh,
which actually
yeah, that's great.
Yes.
Because it means that you're engaging them.
Yes, they love it.
The little readers of today will be the library people of tomorrow, right?
Exactly.
And supporters too.
Yes, and that's what, and so I guess the other program that we have going on is the Poetry Nights at the Velvet Monkey.
Okay.
And that's a library program, but it is hosted by the wonderful people at Velvet Monkey Tea downtown. And that program started as a adult summer reading program, and we were just looking, so many people live in this area and they may not have been to the library or really know what services the library offers. And so this was kind of our attempt to get out of our building and get out into the community more and show people that the library is here, we're a part of this community.
Sure, yeah.
We'll go where you guys are. We actually had for our summer reading program, we did a Science of Beer at the Bitter Monk.
Perfect.
It was wonderful.
Yeah, to engage a different demographic.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we really know our patrons. We know where to find them.
Exactly.
But the poetry program at Velvet Monkey has been going on. It'll be 2 years in June.
Great.
Which has been, and the whole experience for me has been so amazing. Basically, we invite a guest poet, usually a published poet, to come, and they'll do some readings of their own work. And then we'll open it up for the audience, and the audience can read their own poems, or if they want to bring their favorite poem to read. And it's created this community in McMinnville I know that there's writing groups and poetry groups,
Sure.
but it's just been amazing how many people have come. The people that are coming, they tell us how wonderful this program is, how much they love it. There's actually been, I won't say thanks to the Poetry Night because they were there before, but we now have an offshoot group that's meeting and doing just their own. It's not affiliated with us. It's called Breathing Bridges.
Okay.
It's a writing and critique group that meets every month or so. And a lot of those people were from the poetry readings, and it was just, I love seeing people from the community saying, hey, we need this. Let's do it.
It's like, kind of like a meetup. I mean, you have to start somewhere.
Yes.
So that the people can actually meet and get to know each other, and then decide that, wow, we do have something in common.
Right.
So let's just back up a little bit about Poetry Night. So anyone can go to Poetry Night.
Absolutely. It's free
You
for
don't
everyone.
have to bring work to read.
No.
You can just go and I like to watch.
Yes.
You can just watch and maybe be shy and have
Yes.
like something halfway crumpled up in your back pocket that you just can't bring yourself to bring out and read this month, but maybe next month.
And maybe not, and that's what we
Yeah.
have. I think one of my favorite things that usually happens is we'll have somebody who's reading for the first time, and sometimes it'll be a lot of fun, sometimes it'll be something really emotional, and then it's amazing that these people are willing to get up and share this emotional poem with basically a room full of strangers. But the room full of strangers is so supportive and so friendly. And I actually, it's to my shame, I have not brought a poem to Poetry Night at all. But the funny thing is I used to write in college, and I haven't written for a really long time, but going to these poetry nights every month, I mean, it's inspiring. It's inspiring to see, like, these people who are like, oh, I was waiting for the bus and I wrote a poem. And it's just,
Yeah.
it's amazing to see that inspiration.
Well, I think, I mean, anybody who writes says the same thing. It's partly inspiration and, that, oh, yes, wait for the bolt from the blue. But part of it is just sitting down, at the page.
Yes.
You just have to, I mean, make the time to do it. But here you are surrounded by books and words all day long. And, if you're not moved to do it, you're not moved to do it. And that's okay because you're making it possible for people who really want that experience. And, like you say, bare their soul to a room full of strangers. But I think in the right environment, sometimes, it's just that, like, the time just feels right. And it's probably so cathartic, like something that they've had in their heart for such a long time.
Yes.
And they never said it. And then once you say it, it's out. And then, you never have to say it for the first time again. And I think it becomes more comfortable to talk about, whether it's good or just, I mean, some people are just sort of self-conscious about their own work, and a lot of times, writing groups, you're giving each other criticism back and forth. But I think in this poetry, there's not a lot of critique, right? It's more like a performance. You just get up and say your piece, and
everyone, sometimes I
do
still
people
haven't
clap,
learned.
or?
I still haven't learned the poetry etiquette. Although
Yeah.
my coworker said that you can do kind of like a silent applause, or
Oh.
even like a snapping, or
Okay.
even just a hand waving,
Uh-huh.
and that's a way of signifying that you appreciate what they've done without actually clapping.
Because
which
people typically don't clap.
I guess not.
Okay.
I don't, and that's what I laugh that I am in this position because I'm not a poet, but it's been such a pleasure to organize this and to see everything, to see these people come up and to share this part of themselves. And so,
Oh, yeah, that's great. I mean, because, I think it's true. Everybody has poetry in their soul.
Right.
It's just a matter of whether or not we ever let it out.
right.
Right? I mean,
Some of us easier than others. Some of us sound better than others when they do it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you've been at the library for 5 years.
It'll be 5 years in
Wow.
June.
And so what's the best part of your job?
I think honestly, it would be the people. I mean, it's so much service. There's so much service involved with what we do. People can come into the library and they can be looking for anything. And even if it's not a service that we can directly provide them, we can help them get there. I mean, I love the stories. I love the people that come up and have these questions, and it turns into this experience. The program, I mean, that's what, I'm a people person, so I would have to say, I mean, it's the people that you meet and the people that you can interact with. And even though I may do the same tasks every day it's somebody different. With
They're asking a different question,
with
right?
a new, and that's, it's a lot of fun.
So if somebody comes to you and they have a reference librarian question, I need to know something, or I need to know how to find something, do you use a computer?
We do.
Or do you just kind of know where every single thing is in the library?
Oh, no. Although I can tell you, I know exactly on the shelf where, like, the dog care books are.
Okay.
Or the heart-healthy cookbooks. It's
Okay.
just funny how we can be like, oh, you're looking at Buddhism? Let me walk you down there.
Okay, perfect.
I couldn't tell you the Dewey Decimal number, but I know exactly where it is on the shelf.
Okay, and so that's the question. Do we still use the Dewey Decimal?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so
It was just his birthday the other day, too.
Really? And did you have a party?
No.
Champagne or anything?
No.
No. Wow.
We missed it.
Yeah.
What were you thinking?
I don't know. So we're going to be wrapping up a little bit here, but this is our last show of the season of the year. So because you are Paula Terry's daughter, and because she is so involved with gallery, I wanted to just to do a thing of putting in a plug for people to. Last week we had somebody from the Oregon Cultural Trust and the Yamhill County Cultural Coalition on to make those year-end donations to your favorite charitable contribution. Libraries won, galleries won, and then go ahead and write a check to the Oregon Cultural Trust. You'll get all of the money back from the Cultural Trust as a directly from your taxes, and then the other ones you obviously get as a donation. So I think this is a really good time to remind people to absolutely support the nonprofits that we all know and love so
Yes.
well. So
Absolutely.
yes, and so thank you very much for being here,
Oh, thank you.
and I hope you have a wonderful new year.
Yes, happy holidays.